So I think I'm going to do the economic crisis right now, because that's clearly the biggest issue at the moment. This referendum, presented to the Swiss people, details plans for the government to introduce sweeping austerity measures to combat the economic crisis caused by the recent collapse of the Berlin Stock Exchange. So, having started that, the results are now locked in. And they are overwhelmingly in favour of joining the Germans, with 64% for Germany and then 33% for Switzerland for the Swiss. So we are going pro-Mittel Europa. Interesting. So it's these ones that we're going to be going down. So we'll have the division defence on core territory plus 30% for 180 days from that. Plus we will have it from this. So we could for a while have 50% more core division defence bonus. Plus superior firepower, plus the artillery bonus, plus the infantry bonuses. That's a lot. That is an awful lot, actually. Okay, and that also means that I think we stay market liberal, which also means that I don't need to lock you in quite so quickly. So we can definitely go for one of the firepower guys. It will be you. And probably this one. Suitor, which is market liberal. Yes. And then those don't matter. They can be anything. So Air Force. Probably air superiority. Which could be you. I think we'll be staying market liberal at this stage. Okay, cool. The Emirate of Afghanistan and the Dominion of India have signed a peace deal ending their hostilities. Basic machine tools are complete. And we can now go for the concentrated industry. Do we have anything which will improve dispersed more? And actually, we are going to be at the front line. And probably heavily bombed, especially if we don't build an air force. So we might well want to go for dispersed industry this time. That's interesting, because I strongly suspect that we are going to get bombed here. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to go dispersed industry. This is one place where it would make sense. So we're going to work on that, and then the next technology which is completed, I think we'll be going for the doctrine, so it'll be once construction is done. Revolution in Siam. We know how that goes. And you are trained. In fact, I'm going to select... No, not that. Select all of you, deselect you, put you all in there, have you train, have you stop. There we go. Poland falls to syndicalism. No! Actually, that's probably a good thing, because Poland should fall pretty easily. Although that does mean that Germany is going to be fighting on two fronts. But then again, Poland is surrounded by German puppets, who usually actually don't send that much to the war. So if they're adjacent to Poland, then they're going to have to get involved. I just hope that Germany doesn't try to overcommit there. Because that would be very bad. We don't want that to happen. Right, how's this going? Okay, I'm pretty sure that deficit's getting worse. And we haven't built a single factory yet, despite it's been 6 months. I've decided to disperse our industry. Disperse it to where, sir? It's all disperse it! Put it on all the mountain tops. There you go. That's dispersed enough, I think. One mountain, one factory. Every mountain gets one factory. Every factory will produce guns. When each factory dies... we then build another mountain and build a factory on that mountain that we just built. Wait. Alright, so the economic referendum is almost done. So after that, we'll probably go and reduce the strength of the crisis. The problem is I have no idea how long that's going to last, because I've not seen anything which gets rid of that focus completely. Please tell me it's not down here somewhere. Although why it would be, I don't know. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we do actually need to do those to get rid of it. It's not actually going to be a political issue. In which case, I want to get those factories up and running quickly. The economic systems of our neighbour have been disastrous. Free falls in the wake of Black Monday. This has affected the strength of our currencies and the confidence in the financial markets has fallen. Promoting the Swiss franc as the viable alternative to the failing German mark will serve to boost our own economy in the face of the economic crisis. Do it. Hey, Nike. Alright, construction 1. I did say that we were going to start on superior firepower. Our artillery are going to be horrifically powerful. Referendum, combat the economic crisis. The recent disaster that was Black Monday has thrown the nation's economy into a dangerous downward spiral. There are actions that the government can and will take to combat this crisis, but the referendum is to decide whether the government can take extraordinary action outside of its usual power in order to resolve the crisis swiftly. Should we support this referendum? So we can allow no campaigning. Some, moderate or extensive. See, a market liberal economy would say no. And a centralist economy would say hell yes. Centralist being syndicalist. Go full in on all of these. Yeah, I'm kind of suspecting that this is going to be very similar to how the Irish work, where you basically just want to maximise everything for ridiculous bonuses. We're going to do extensive campaigning, like the economy. It's the economy, stupid. It's important. It's kind of sort of important. But if it was like Victoria, where your choices actually mattered in the state of your economy and the political philosophies of your people, then you should not be doing any campaigning. It's just let the markets rule themselves. Well, actually, that's political campaigning. It's not intervention. But that campaigning is to say that there should be more political intervention, which is about as anti-liberal as you can possibly get. Liberal in the economic sense, not in the political sense. But still political. I don't know why they use the same word there. I know it basically means freedom, but one of them means freedom of the markets. The other one means freedom of choice. Baradet's rebellion. While the Siamese Revolution itself was successful, the political implication is an absolute mess from the yellow-covered dossier affair, which the old royalist side uses to build up a red square against the parliamentarians. Siam has declared war on the Siamese Federation. That's not the communists, is it? Siamese Federation's actually authoritarian Democrats. I'm pretty sure that my revolution was against the communists. Interesting. Different outcome. Seems like you're playing the Swiss chocolate factories before the Norwegian fanboys. The Norwegian Vikings even. Yeah, I mean, Switzerland just appealed to me for longer because they're right at the centre of affairs. Plus, I know that Scandinavia's focus trees are still broken. Or at least I've not heard anything saying that they've been fixed. Which makes me a little reticent to play as Norway at the moment, because I want the Scandinavian stuff to work. The economic referendum succeeds. The economic referendum has succeeded, and the government now has free rein to solve the Black Monday crisis with its new extraordinary measures. Research bonuses for industry, political power gain as well. Marvellous. And thankfully, because we are not going nationalist, we don't need to spend political power on getting the general. So let's just go ahead and add you guys to that. While you lot are still training. How are we doing for equipment? We're down to 5,000 deficit. The deficit is growing. It's not shrinking. Guys. Norway needs to find more Vikings. Right, dispersed industry has been completed. And it is not yet 37, so we're not going to get any of those. We should probably research better artillery. In the interim, let's go and improve those. And I would absolutely love to add support artillery, but I think we're still going to be short. We are. And if we were to add engineers... In fact, what I'm really tempted to do is remove the engineers, then add... Sorry, remove the recon and add engineers with the supply that we save. So we're going to save that. Yeah, that's fine. Because I'm not going to have the support equipment for both. Like, usually that's a really, really stupid idea and you shouldn't do that. But I definitely don't have the support equipment for both, and I'm not going to be on the offensive. I'm going to be on the defensive. I'm a very, very defensive army. This is just Somalia again. That went so well. It's one of 2 games of Kaiserreich I lost. Somalia and Carlist Spain. Okay, so we have got that. We can't get this one until we've been in a war. Or there is at least 50% war tension. There is 6% at the moment, so we can't do that. So I guess that we continue with the referendums. So we could go and ban the syndicalists. And I think that's probably what we should try and do. Or we could revise the federal constitution before we ban the syndicalists. We could start officially speaking German only in order to buddy up with the Germans. Army reorganisation and Freemasonry are less important. Transport of goods would be quite important, although I've not done any of the infrastructure focuses. Which we could do, to start really pumping out the factories. I don't really have the consumer factories, sorry, not consumer, civilian factories to buy in the resources we need though. And I don't remember seeing anything which adds resources. Efficiency, yes, but not resources. And our production cap's going to be really high, because both of these add 5% each. Let's ban the syndicalists before they get any stronger. This referendum, as presented to the Swiss people, details plans to ban the formation of or participation in unions of other political organisations that follow the Syndicalist Manifesto or adhere to strong syndicalist beliefs. This measure is designed to curb extremist influence in Switzerland and restore stability to the nation. Or we could do the Constitution. This referendum presented to the Swiss people details plans to revise the federal constitution to grant greater powers to the ruling party so as to combat subversive threats in the nation, such as threats posed by extremist movements in the Romandy region. You know what? Let's do that one first, because that's going to empower the government to then actually enforce a ban of the syndicalists. Again, I'm approaching this probably far more realistically than is actually written. But hey, you never know. It's Kaiserreich. They sometimes impress. And by sometimes, I mean usually. Okay, so production is still ongoing. We do have enough experience now to get the recon companies in. And we will be really... How are we that short in support equipment? Oh, because the recon company is still there. Whoops. Remove you. Add... Wait, what? Our engineer company is just way more expensive. That's 300. Well, the recons is 100, but we still only have 2. So did literally none of the recon guys have any equipment whatsoever? Because you don't use support equipment for artillery. Well, we definitely need the defences, but oh man. I'm not sure we're ever going to get that support equipment. We're going to have to wait. Do you know if the Egyptians are going to get an updated focus tree because they're still needing a diplomatic part of the tree? I would suspect so. They're usually pretty good at updating trees which need a bit more. Like they were doing for Austria. And the Ottomans. Previously. Alright, you are still being built slowly but surely. We are doing the federal constitution. After which... Write some protests at Rangoon. We probably want to go for war profiteering before 37. When's the better artillery? 39. Okay, we have time before then. Because we definitely want the artillery upgrade before we actually upgrade the artillery. That just makes sense. Attrition of Venice. Switzerland can defend all sides. Hopefully. I mean, I was pretty good at defending the Alps when I was playing as Italy. So hopefully I can do something similar for the Swiss. Although actually thinking about it, these are just forest. They're not mountains. So we kind of want to give up Romandy. John N. Garner elected as president of the USA. Cool. In fact, you're just hills and you're urban. Alright, so we have 2 provinces with mountains at least. Oh, the fort's ready. I haven't even started building them yet. I mean, we're less than a year in the game, so we're okay. Referendum, revise the federal constitution. That is done. Then... official language, or are we going to ban the syndicalists? I think we're just going to step on the syndicalists right now. This referendum, presented to the Swiss people, details plans to ban the formation or participation in unions. You should align with Italy. I've almost always seen the Germans fall. We could do the Austrians. I already said earlier I'm not going to do the Austrians because they're freaking boring, because they never actually enter the war. And yeah, I could have gone with Italy, but I kind of like the idea of going with Germany. Revise the federal constitution. There has been increasing support recently for a total revision to the Swiss constitution. This move is seen as necessary by many who have seen the escalating rifts between the French West and the German East inside the country, and believe that constitutional guarantees are the only way to mend this rift and improve the state of the nation. Many opponents will believe that it only a stopgap measure, and that conflict between the government and syndicalist movements is inevitable. Should we support this referendum? Yes. 100%. Don't build up Romandy, build forts behind Romandy. Is Romandy one of the places I can actually build factories in? Yeah, but I haven't been. Wisely. Oh man, it's another 8 though. Down with the syndicalist frogs. I don't disagree with your sentiments. Okay, so all of you guys are here now. You've actually got your equipment pretty quickly. Oh no, your fighting strength has gone up because we no longer have the recon units with no equipment. Because when you have no equipment for a support company, the entire strength of your unit is massively affected. Like way more than you would expect. Way more than just having an incomplete battalion, for example. Mechanical computing, research time reduction. Excellent. It is 14th of December, so I think we're just going to hold out until 37 and start grabbing those. Rename France to West Switzerland after the conquest. So this is just going to be French Switzerland. Okay. I can live with that. Constitutional referendum succeeds. The referendum has succeeded, and a convention will soon be held in order to draft a new constitution that would pave the way for Switzerland's new future. Wunderbar! We get loads of political power, which we can now spend on improving our construction speeds, or we can save for the next negative referendum things. I'm actually going to save it, because I don't want to go into negative stability, because that's going to slow everything down even more than it already is. Although having 10% extra construction speed is just always nice. Especially as in 4 days' time, 5 days' time, we're going to get new industry tax, and that will increase in industrial research time. Potential increase in stability. Yeah, I know how that works. I don't want to do that. It's a waste. You know what? I am going to get the industrial one, because this is going to be pretty good timing for it. 10% faster industrial research time, and we build military and civilian faster. We'll go negative if we have to. Newsflash, a well-known and popular Swiss restaurant has added a new item to their menu. Deep fried frog's legs. Why would we be promoting French cuisine? At least that's that's going to be our perception of French cuisine. It's clearly not the cultured French aristocracy anymore, so they must just be deep frying everything. No offence to the Scots. Actually, that's just calling the Scots a bunch of socialists. Sorry. Okay, so we've banned, or we've done the referendum to ban the socialists, syndicalists. So now we could try and reform the army. We could go towards the Romandy crisis, though I think that would be poorly chosen. Because we actually kind of want to give Germany as much time as possible to sort their stuff out. So we could go towards war profiteering, because world tension still has a long way to go. And this will give us the towed artillery bonus. and a bunch more factories so we can actually get some stuff built. Switzerland, Eastern Switzerland, yeah, none of these go into Romandy. That one does. But that one we're not going to be able to get because it requires local industry as well. Our neighbours' losses are our gain. Selling weapons to our neighbours as they kill each other in selfless conflict can only serve to strengthen our own position when the time comes to fight. Or we could get the Transalpine Railway. Things are being built really slowly already, so I'm not going to bother with the infrastructure. We're just going to build... We're going to get more free constructions. Also, this should have been done a while ago. It is 37. Double down on the construction speed. Or the production efficiency. I'm actually going to go for the production efficiency. Is it weird I saw the Weltkrieg start in 36 in a game you did? Kind of. I mean, yes. It is no secret that syndicalism has been spreading constantly over recent years inside of other nation. It shares a large border with the syndicalist commune in France, and the pains of the Geneva massacre still fester in Romandy. This referendum is an extreme measure to combat the crisis at the root and ban syndicalist unions from the nation entirely. This move is sure to be controversial, especially with the French commune. Should we support this referendum? Hell yes. It is vital in the interests of our nation to ban that. We must stand with our German brothers and resist the onrushing red tide of stupidity. We're still really short on guns, though. Whoop! No, don't do that. Don't go invading France before we're even at war with them. All right, interwar artillery is done. Now we can go for the construction speed bonus. How good will the new DLC stuff work in Kaiserreich, in your opinion? It's going to be amazing, but it's going to take Kaiserreich a while to switch over to that. I mean, the decision system on its own is going to require a phenomenal amount of work. But when it's done, Kaiserreich's going to have even more depth and even more stuff you can just do as the various nations. But considering they already spend so much time and effort doing the focus trees, to then have the decisions sitting alongside that, that's going to be even more work for them to do. And I can kind of hear the modders going, oh, it's going to be amazing, but say goodbye to your free time. The 5-year anniversary of the 1932 Geneva strike. 5 years ago today, the workers of Geneva began a major industrial action, demanding social and economic reforms which threatened to spread to the rest of the French-speaking Western Switzerland, known as Romandy. Fearful of potential revolutionary influence by the Commune of France, the central government in Bern reacted swiftly by sending in the Federal Army to break the strike. In the ensuing violence, 13 were killed and over 100 injured in Geneva. This has left a bitter divide between Romandy and Bern, which over the subsequent years has failed to heal. Encouraged by recent developments in France, the radical left has begun to agitate once more and is planning on standing socialist candidates in the upcoming local elections. However, the Social Democrats, traditionally very strong in Normandy, have devised a reform package in conjunction with the trade unions, the Peace of Work Agreement, which involves a number of policies regarding wage issues, shift times and so on. One of the key points is to put an end to the massive lockouts in watch manufactories which have taken place recently. The Social Democratic candidates are relying on this programme to be re-elected and hopefully diffuse the standoff between the radical left and the Conservative-dominated federal government in Bern. So we get another negative, so this is definitely a good thing that I'm banning the Cindies as soon as possible. Okay, so we've got the improved machine tools already. This is factory output. This is not... Oh, it is also max number of factories, but just having the factory output and the production efficiency base increase, very potent. Plus, it's industrial, so I should really double down on that. Korea has declared war on Japan. GG Korea. The proud Swiss tradition of accidentally invading the neighbours. Very good. I do wish the next thing was the China countries instead of Italy. I definitely agree with you there. Like, Italy's already got some stuff, like they at least have focuses. China hasn't got any of that, and China is such a consequential part of the whole what's going on in Kaiserreich that it's kind of important. Like, even the Hearts of Iron 4 developers have realised this and are doing China in their next upgrade. Socialist election victory in Romandy. Backed by the Conservative federal government and the majority of the German-speaking cantons, the Swiss employers' organisations have refused to sign the so-called Peace of Work Agreement proposed by the trade unions to put an end to the massive blockouts happening in the watch manufactories. While the moderate Social Democrats have been disgraced French-speaking workers whose resentment towards the government and the Federal Army, largely dominated by German-speaking officers, has been growing since the violent repression of a worker strike in Geneva in 1932, have returned to the landslide victory to socialist and pro-syndicalist candidates in all cantonal elections, bringing in leftist councils in Geneva, Lausanne and Neuchâtel, which are now calling for ambitious reforms. Damn those socialists. So I should probably have banned them earlier. Oh wait, I already have banned them. So the referendum was going on while we were trying to ban them. Okay. Despite strong syndicalist support from its western regions in Switzerland, the referendum has succeeded. All existing syndicalist trade unions are now dissolved, and none are legally allowed to form again. This is sure to raise the ire of the French. So the Indies are down, the Totalists are down, the Radical Socialists are down, political power has increased, but it is still somewhat negative. But we are, oh man, we are at 59%. We are so close to high popularity. So close. So close. AUS is declared to run the USA. Okay. That feels early. Maybe I'm just blitzing through time far more quickly than usual.